In the cold black of space, far from Earth, there was a planet called Varnuk 9. It was dry, hot, and dead. Nothing green lived there. Only metal, fire, and blood. This planet had one main attraction, the Crucible Arena, a place where aliens watched other beings fight. And die. The rulers of this planet were the Zarnuk, a tall reptile-like species. They were rich, cruel, and hungry for violence. They believed only in strength, real strength, proven by death. They laughed when weak creatures begged for life. For them, mercy was weakness. Every week, humans and other species were thrown into the crucible to fight each other like animals. Most died quickly, some lasted a bit longer. None survived more than 5 matches, but this time, something was different. New human arrived. He didn't come in chains like the others. He walked. His name was Kai. No one knew who sent him. He had no past records, no family data, not even DNA match. His body looked normal, tall, thin, quiet. His eyes, though, were deep green, almost glowing. When the guards scanned him, the machine glitched. "This unit is broken," one of the guards said. Another replied. "Then why is it?" "Hot." The scanner had overheated. Still, they ignored it. To them, Kai was just another body to bleed. The arena's opening, the gates opened. The crowd of Zarnuk filled the giant stone seats. They screamed. Their sharp teeth glowed under the red sky. Some held betting cards, placing bets on who would die first. Across the sand of the arena, a horn blew. 2 humans walked out. One was large and muscular. He had scars on his arms and a metal plate on his face. His name was Brask, a known killer. He had survived 4 fights already. The second was Kai. No armor, no weapon, just his simple gray shirt and dark eyes. The Zarnuk roared with laughter. "He brings nothing." One shouted, "He wants to die fast," said another. The gate behind them closed. The match had begun. Brask growled, picking up a steel axe from the ground. He looked at Kai and spat. "I don't care who you are. I need my 5th win." Kai didn't answer. Brask ran toward him, screaming. The crowd screamed with him. The fight, the axe came fast. Brask swung it hard. Dust flew, but Kai moved. He didn't run. He didn't block. He simply leaned to the side, just enough for the blade to miss. Brask growled again and charged. Kai stepped aside again. Then again. The crowd grew quiet. This was not fear. This was control. Then Kai struck. 1 hit. Just 1. His fist landed on Brask's side. The sound was like wood cracking. Brask fell to the ground, coughing blood. He couldn't breathe. The Zarnuk were silent now. They had seen punches before, but not like this. Not one that made a strong man fall in one blow. Kai stepped back, calm. His eyes stared up at the crowd, not angry, not proud, just watching. Brask tried to stand. Kai walked to him. And whispered, "I don't want to kill you." But Brask tried to stab him with a small blade hidden in his wrist. So Kai broke his neck. It was fast, clean. No show, no drama. The horn blew again. Match over. After the fight, back in his cell, Kai sat on the floor. His hands were clean. He had washed them, though there was no blood left. The guard outside stared at him. "You don't blink much," the guard said. Kai didn't answer. "What are you?" Still nothing. The guard shook his head and walked away. Inside the cell, something strange happened. A small crack appeared in the wall near the floor. No one else noticed, but something green pushed through. A small vine. It was thin, weak-looking, but it moved slowly, like it was alive. Kai turned his head and looked at it. And for the first time since arriving, he smiled. Zarnuk Council chamber high above the arena, inside a tower made of black stone. The Zarnak leaders met. "This human," said General Zyrax, "is not like the others." "I saw the footage," said Counselor Drock. "His strike was not physical only, It had energy. Mutation? One asked. No, said Zyrax. Something else. Something ancient. We must test him. A silent screen in the corner. Played the match again, zoomed in. Slowed down. Kai's eyes, just before he struck, had glowed a deeper green dot, not technology, not rage, something older. Midnight in the cell at night. The arena was quiet. The lights dimmed. The cells were locked. No guards spoke. No prisoners moved, but in Kai's cell, the vine had grown longer. Touched his foot, and he didn't move. He let it climb over his leg. It felt warm. Alive. Like it remembered him. Flashback Earth. Many years ago, the scene was green, lush. Trees, rivers, animals. Earth was full of life. Kai was just a child. His father was a scientist. He worked in a lab under the Amazon rainforest. He held a glass container. Inside it was something glowing green. The last seed, his father whispered. What? Young Kai asked. This seed holds Earth's memory. Its voice. Its soul. Suddenly, alarms rang. Explosions. ZARNOK ships appeared above the forest. Flames followed. Earth was dying. His father looked at him. Forgive me, son, but you must carry it. He injected the seed into Kai's body. Pain, light, silence, then nothing. Back to present. Kai opened his eyes. The vine had wrapped around his wrist now. It didn't hurt. It pulsed like a heartbeat. He whispered, I'm still here, and the vine moved slightly. Like it answered. Zarnok Science Lab the next morning. Guards took Kai to the labs, strapped him to a table. Scanned his body, machines. Sparked. One screen showed strange patterns, shapes not seen since Earth. Plant code. One scientist said. That's impossible, another replied. Nothing green survives here. But it was there. Inside him. Moving. Growing. Kai opened his eyes during the scan. The machine nearby began to rust. Sparks flew. Power failed. The guards panicked, but Kai just closed his eyes again and whispered, You can feel it, can't you? The power came back. But the machine screen now showed one word written in an Earth language long lost. Verdant. Back in the arena, the next match came fast. This time, Kai was thrown into the ring with two alien beasts, creatures bred only to kill. The crowd laughed. Let's see him punch them now. But Kai didn't fight. He stood still. The beasts charged. Then stopped. Sniffed. Then slowly backed away. Afraid. The crowd booed. The Zarnok screamed. One of them pressed a button. The beasts' collars shocked them. Forced them to attack. They moved forward. Kai whispered something, and the arena floor cracked. Vines burst out. They wrapped around the beasts, not to kill, just to hold. The crowd was silent. Kai looked up. And for the first time, he spoke loudly. You made us bleed. You made us break. But we are not dead. Cliffhanger ending. Back in the dark cell. The vine was now fully grown. It had flowers. Bright red ones. A small hummingbird, impossible on this dead world, flew into the room through the vents. It sat on the flower and looked at Kai. He smiled and whispered, You followed me here. The morning after the second fight, the guards brought Kai back to his cell. He walked quietly, calm as always. But something had changed. Now other prisoners looked at him with respect and fear. Nobody had ever survived 2 fights without a weapon. Nobody had ever faced monsters and lived. And nobody had ever made the arena itself move. Back in his cell, Kai sat on the ground again. The vine beside him had grown thicker. Its leaves were brighter now, almost glowing. Suddenly, Kai saw something behind the vine. A small mark etched deep into the stone wall. It looked like writing. He moved the leaves aside. The words were old, scratched by hand. And in the old earth language, the seed lives. Find the root below. Kai touched the words slowly. He didn't write them. Someone else had been here before. Memories of the past. The secret lab. Kai closed his eyes. He remembered a place dark, silent, deep. Underground. His father's secret lab. Hidden under the forest before Earth was destroyed. Kai was still a boy then. His father had said, "One day, nature will fight back, but she will need a voice. That voice is you." Kai had thought it was a story, a dream. Now he knew it was real. The seed wasn't just inside him. It was awake, beneath the cell. Later that night, when the lights dimmed and the guards left, Kai stood. He looked at the wall, and he punched it. Once. The stone cracked. Dust fell. Another punch, louder crack, then a third. The wall opened slightly, revealing a small tunnel behind it. Kai reached in. Vines moved aside, guiding him. He crawled through the hole. The tunnel was dark, but the vines lit the way, glowing faint green. After 10 meters, the tunnel opened into a small room. It was old, forgotten, but someone had lived here once. A dead body sat in the corner, just bones now, carved into the wall. Were more words. "We failed to protect Earth, but the seed will return. If you read this, you are the last root." Kai sat down. The room felt warm, like Earth. And then the whisper came again. Soft. In his mind, not from outside. "Grow." Zarnuk scientists. The secret scan at the same time. High in the science tower, the Zarnuk Council watched a recording of Kai's last fight. One of them, a scientist named Trolena, paused the video. She zoomed in on the vines that grew from the floor. "Look at the roots," she said. "They're not random." "What do you see?" asked a general. "They form a pattern, a shape." She drew it on a screen. It matched something ancient, a forgotten symbol from Earth's early history. "No technology can do this," she said. "This is not science, it is something else." "Magic?" One of them mocked. "No," she said. "Memory." In the hidden room, the pulse of life back in the secret chamber, Kai placed his hand on the floor. It pulsed beneath him like a heartbeat. He looked around. The walls were cracked. The air was dry, but when his hand touched the floor, green moss appeared. The walls grew vines. The floor softened. A tiny flower bloomed. Near his feet. It was working. Nature remembered this place. And now it was healing it. Kai spoke softly. "What are you?" And the answer came not in words, but in feeling. "We are the memory of Earth, and you are our voice." The Zarnuk's plan. Meanwhile, the Zarnuk leaders met in secret. "This human must be contained," said General Zirax. "He is affecting the structure of the arena," said another. "He is not just fighting," said Counselor Drak. "He is changing the planet." The oldest Zarnuk stood. His eyes were dim. He spoke in a low voice. "In the ancient records, there was once a species that lived close to the Earth's heart. They could control life, but not as power, as balance. They were destroyed, but if one remains..." Everyone turned silent. "Kill him?" someone asked. "No," said the old one. "Study him, but do not anger the seed." The next test. The next day, guards took Kai not to the arena, but to a different place. A white room, circular, empty. The doors locked. Gas filled the room. Kai coughed. He fell. Everything went dark. Simulation. Earth returns. When Kai opened his eyes, he wasn't in the room anymore. He was standing in a forest. Green, bright, full of birds. Earth. But he knew it wasn't real. This was a simulation, a test. Still, he felt something. Real soil under his feet, warm sun on his face. Then he heard footsteps. Father, but not quite. A shadow of him. The simulation spoke. "You carry the last breath of Earth. Your body is the shell, but the root has deeper purpose." Kai asked, "What do you want me to do?" The shadow pointed at a giant tree. It was burning, and behind it stood the Zarnuk holding fire. "Remember," said the tree, "nature is not weak. It only waits." Power disruption back in the real world. The scientists monitored Kai's body. Suddenly, alarms rang. The floor around his body cracked. Vines burst from the walls. Lights failed. One of the machines exploded. The scientist Trellina screamed. He's not just dreaming, he's connecting. Guards rushed in, tried to shut it down, but vines wrapped around their weapons, melted the metal. One of the screens showed something new, Earth's map, but updated. Only one spot was green right where Kai lay, awakening inside the simulation. Kai placed his hand on the burning tree. The fire stopped. The tree grew taller, faster. The sky changed. He looked up. He saw stars, and in them, other seeds, other voices. The tree whispered one final word: awaken. Back to reality. Power returns. Kai's eyes opened. Bright green dot. The vines stopped growing. The room fell silent. Then the vines pulled back, disappearing into the walls. The floor healed itself. The machines restarted. Trellina stood, shaking. She looked at Kai and said, "You are not human anymore." Kai stood slowly and said, "I never was." Ending scene. Prisoners react back in the prison block. Whispers spread. The quiet one. He made the walls grow. They say the plants follow him. He doesn't bleed. Kai walked past the cells, back to his own. The prisoners watched him, not with fear now, but with hope. As he entered his cell, the vine touched his foot again. A small flower opened. And on the wall, new words appeared, growing like moss. "We are not gone. We are waiting." The Crucible Arena was quiet that night. No fights, no screams. Just wind howling over metal towers. But under the ground, something was moving. Deep below the surface, where old machines had long stopped working, a network of vines was spreading. Slowly, silently, cracking. Steel, reaching towards something forgotten. A pulse. A signal. From below the roots of the arena. Something alive. Kai walks alone. Kai walked through the hall of cells. This time, no guards stopped him. They watched him, but didn't touch him. His feet moved without sound. His eyes burned with calm power. Inside the cells, the other prisoners stepped back. They had seen what he did, not just in the fights, but to the walls, to the floor, to the machines. Some whispered a new name: the Root Walker. Kai didn't care for names. He was following a pull, like gravity, but deeper. Like the earth itself was calling him. A locked gate. Kai reached the lowest level of the prison, a place even guards didn't visit often. At the end of the hall, he found it, a large gate, steel, rusted, sealed for over 100 years. No key, no panel. No way to open it. But the vines that grew along the walls began to move. They reached toward the gate, and it opened. No sound. Just a soft hiss, like the planet exhaled. Behind the door was a long dark tunnel. He stepped inside. Underground. Network, the forgotten depths. This tunnel was different. The air was thicker. The walls were not made by Zarnuk. They were older, carved stone, with symbols, marks, writings. Earth symbols, carved by human hands. Kai ran his fingers along one of the walls. He saw images, a story in stone, people planting the seed, hiding it from fire, from war. Running underground. A single phrase repeated again and again: life must sleep to survive. Meanwhile, Zarnok control towering the tower above the arena. Alarms began to blink. "He's moving through the old tunnels," he said. General Zyrax looked at the screen. Those tunnels were closed after the first experiments. Nothing should be alive down there. Another screen showed heat readings. Something was alive. Not just Kai. Something woke up. The scientist, Trellina, looked nervous. "If he reaches the old core," she said, "we may not be able to stop it." "What's down there?" asked a commander. Trellina looked at him. The root memory. Beneath the steel root, sky walked deeper. Now vines covered the ceiling, the walls, the floor, but they weren't from him. They were waiting. The deeper he went, the brighter they glowed. Then the tunnel opened into a large underground chamber. A dome dot at the center. A giant machine sat broken and silent, but around it, thousands of green lights blinked softly. Seeds stored in glass. Still, breathing. Kai stepped forward. The machine had words carved into its side. Old English letters. RMS. Root memory system. Flashback. Earth scientists' last hope. The room faded. Kai's mind was pulled into a memory. Not his own. A woman stood inside the same dome years ago. She was human. A scientist. Dirty, tired, and scared. We don't have time, she said into a recorder. Zarnok fleets are already above Earth, but we finished the vault. The seeds, the voice. We buried it here. She touched the machine. This is not for war, she said. This is for balance. When the world forgets, this will remind them. She looked into the camera. If anyone finds this. She paused. Then said, you are the last gardener. Back to present. The pulse connect. Sky touched the machine. At HUMMED. Lights turned on. One by one. The seeds lit up. The walls glowed. Then the vines wrapped around his arm. Not to trap but to connect. The dome began to change. Stone turned to green. Metal to moss. Rust to roots. And in the air, a whisper. Zarnok response, fear and fire above. Alarms rang louder. He activated the root memory. Someone shouted. General Zerax's face turned dark. Prepare to burn the tunnels. No, said Trelina, stepping forward. If we destroy it, we destroy the balance, Zerax growled. Balance is weakness. Trelina looked at him calmly. Then you've already lost. But the orders were given. Drones were launched, with firebombs. Attack from above, deep below. In the root dome, Kai felt the air shift. Heat. Fire was coming. The vines began to shake. Some pulled back, afraid. But Kai stood tall. He closed his eyes and whispered, grow. The awakening. The ground trembled. The machine in the center rose. The seeds inside broke their glass. Not with force. With life. Roots exploded. Upward. Not like plants. Like weapons. They crashed through stone, through metal, through fire. Vines reached the surface. And the arena floor cracked open. Prisoners screamed. Guards ran. But the vines did not hurt them. They moved around them. They were looking for something. For someone. The messenger in the sky. Through the smoke, a single hummingbird flew. It flew straight into the arena. It found Kai. Still rising from the tunnel. The bird hovered in front of him. Kai looked at it. And nodded. The bird flew up. Again. It carried a small glowing seed in its beak. And dropped it into the center of the arena. The seed hit the ground, and a tree began to grow. A tree in a world of steel. The tree was fast. In seconds. It stood 10 feet tall. Then 20. Then higher than the arena walls. Its roots tore through steel. Its leaves shimmered gold. And then it stopped. The world was silent. Everyone looked, and from the leaves, a sound, a voice, not Kai's, not human. But ancient. It said, you worship strength, but strength is not in fire, it is in growth, in memory, in peace. You destroyed Earth, but Earth remembers. And then the tree breathed. A wave of green air swept across the arena. And every broken part of the prison began to heal. Final scene, prisoners reborn. Prisoners stood in awe. Their wounds closed. Their pain faded. Even their fear melted. One of them fell to his knees and whispered, he is not just a fighter, he is life. Kai stood beneath the tree. His body glowed faintly green. He looked at the Zarnok above. Not with hate. With warning. You thought death proved power, he said. But now, nature speaks. Opening hook. A prison that breathes. The arena was no longer silent. Its walls, once steel and lifeless, were now wrapped in living roots. A tree stood in the center, golden, massive, still growing. Birds circled it. The ground breathed. prisoners stood in shock. Guards pointed their weapons, but their hands shook, and at the heart of it all, Kai stood still, eyes glowing green, like he was part of the tree itself. Something had begun, and it would not stop now. The Zarnok panic inside the High Zarnok Council Room. Sirens flashed red. The monitors showed the tree. The vines. The spreading. Green. General Zyrax slammed the table. This is an invasion. From within. Counselor Drock replied calmly. This is not invasion. It is awakening. Zyrax growled. Order the purge. Kill the prisoners. Kill the human. But Trelina, the scientist, stepped in. If we strike now, the system may collapse. This power is not just energy, it's memory. If you destroy it, I don't care what it is, Zyrax roared. Burn it! Outside the tower, drone ships prepared for launch. The tree speaks again in the arena. The golden tree moved slightly. Its leaves shimmered with wind that did not blow. Then, a voice came, soft, but heard by all, a voice in their minds. You caged life, but life cannot be caged forever. Fire ends quickly, but roots grow deep. The prisoners dropped their weapons. Even some guards fell to their knees. Only Kai stood upright. He looked at the sky, then down at his own hands. The vines had begun to grow from his skin, not painful, like they belonged. The choice a loud boom shook the ground. Above the arena, drones appeared, armed with flame. Prisoners ran in fear. Guards shouted commands. One drone fired. A missile flew toward the tree, but before it landed, a wall of green rose from the ground. A massive vine caught the missile. It exploded, but the plant held. Kai closed his eyes. He reached into the ground, into the root memory. And he spoke. This is your last chance. Stand with the living, or be buried with the dead. The first fire battle. The drones began to fire. Flames spread across the arena. The golden tree trembled, but it did not fall. Then, the ground opened. Thick roots twisted like muscle rose. From the earth, they wrapped around drones, crushed them like paper. Prisoners watched in awe. Then something happened no one expected. One of the guards dropped his gun. He stepped forward, looked at Kai. And whispered, help us. Kai nodded. The vines moved around the guard, but did not hurt him. They lifted him gently. He was safe. One by one, more guards followed. Meanwhile, Zarnok's secrets back in the tower. Trelina opened an old file. One marked CLASS 7 Forbiddens, Earth Trials. Inside were videos. Hidden history. Zarnok scientists had once experimented with Earth soil, with living plants. They had tried to grow the root memory in labs, but every time it grew, it rejected control. It only responded to one type of human, those who were born close to Earth's old forests. Trelina gasped. Kai was not just random. He was chosen by the seed itself. She stood and whispered, this is not war. This is justice. Kai leads the escape back in the arena. Flames still burned, but the tree now had thousands of roots. They reached out like arms. Breaking walls, opening locked doors, setting prisoners free. Kai walked toward the gate. He turned back to the others. Come with me, he said. We don't run, we rise. The prisoners, once enemies, now followed. Even guards marched beside them. The arena, once a place of blood, became a garden of rebellion. A message to all prisons. Kai placed his hand on the arena wall. Vines crawled up the metal, spreading, growing, until they reached a large screen. A broadcast panel. He looked into the camera. And spoke to every prison across the Zarnok-controlled systems. You are not forgotten. You are not alone. The seed has returned. Earth remembers. Rise. Zarnok's strike begins on a warship above the planet. General Zyrax gave the final order. All systems, target the tree. The ships locked on. Lasers powered up. In one moment, the entire fleet fired, but as the beams fell, the ground split. the golden tree released a massive shockwave. It hit the sky, hit the ships. Power systems fried. The ships blinked. Then went dark. Fell from the sky silent. A new map awakens back in the control tower. Trelana watched a satellite feed. Something had changed. Across the planet, old forest zones began to blink green. Spots once dead now glowed with life. Not planted by hand, awakened by memory. A full planetary network of roots had been reactivated. And at the center, Kai. Final scene. The last test as the day ended. The prisoners gathered in the broken arena. The tree still stood, but it was no longer alone. Smaller trees had started growing across the walls, the floors, the old cells. Kai sat at the base of the golden tree. Eyes closed. Breathing. He felt every root, every pulse. And then he felt something darker, a presence. Far below, beneath the old ground. Something buried. Something still asleep, and it was angry. The tree whispered, to restore balance, you must face what we once buried. Not all roots give life. Kai opened his eyes and said just one word, I'm ready. Opening hook, a warning from below. The golden tree stood tall. Its roots had reached every wall of the arena. Life was returning, but under the surface, deeper than any vine had gone. Something watched. Not alive. Not dead. It had no name, only a hunger. And when Kai touched the base of the tree that night, he heard it whisper. Not with words, but with fear. 1. Root was never meant to grow. Descent begins. The silent shaft. Kai stood alone at the edge of a new tunnel. It wasn't made by Zarnok, or by him. The tree itself had opened it. Stone cracked in perfect circles, like an old lock unlocking after centuries. Trelana, now part of the growing rebellion, watched from a distance. You don't have to go, she said. Kai looked down. I do. He stepped into the dark. Memory lights the path as Kai moved downward. Walls lit up beside him, not with fire, but with old Earth GLYPHS. Each symbol told part of a story. Pictures of people planting seeds. Then pictures of something growing too fast. Then screams. The final picture was just black lines, like tangled roots, or veins. At the end of the tunnel, he found a metal door, untouched by time. On it were 4 words. We buried our mistake. Inside, the cold chamber, the door opened. Slowly, a blast of freezing air hit Kai's face. He stepped inside. The chamber was round, metal, silent. In the center was a large glass tube, filled with green liquid. And inside the tube, a human body floated, but its skin was cracked, like bark. Its veins glowed like vines. Its eyes were open, watching him, and next to it, a screen blinked. 1 word, still growing. The truth, playback file 97. Kai touched the panel. A video began to play. An old recording, over 200 years old. A scientist stood in the same chamber. Hair wild, eyes red. His voice shook. We tried to speed it up, make nature grow faster, stronger, but we pushed it too far. He looked at the camera. It fused with him. The seed bonded with his nervous system. Now, he controls the roots, but they also control him. Another voice in the background screamed. The scientist whispered, if anyone finds this, do not wake Subject 9. Do not believe it can be saved. Subject 9. The first root warrior. Suddenly, the glass cracked. Kai stepped back. The room went dark. Then the liquid drained. The glass fell away, and Subject 9 took a breath. Its chest moved slowly. Then faster. Its body stepped forward. Skin bark, eyes glowing, mouth covered in vines, but it spoke, not with voice. With roots. They crawled along the floor, spelling words in moss. I waited for you. Root to root connection. Kai felt pressure in his head, a connection forming, like 2 trees trying to link underground. But this link was different. Painful. Sudden flashes filled his mind. The forest-burning Zarnok soldiers, laughing scientists crying, Subject 9 screaming. As vines wrapped his bones, Kai fell to his knees. "Why are you showing me this?" he gasped. The vines spelled, "To remind you what happens when life is forced." First attack without warning. Subject 9 moved fast. Roots shot toward Kai like whips. He jumped back, blocked with his own vines. But Subject 9's roots were older, sharper, violent. They slashed the walls, cut into the floor. Kai tried to speak. "We are the same," but the answer came in moss. "No, I am what happens when they play God. You are what happens when Earth chooses." Subject 9 roared. The chamber shook. The final fight had begun. The battle of growth versus rage. Kai raised his hand. Vines burst from the ceiling. Subject 9 responded, twisting into a massive tree-shaped creature. Its limbs slammed toward Kai. He dodged. Countered with thorn-covered roots. Subject 9 absorbed them, turned them into weapons. Kai backed up. Thought fast. This wasn't about strength. It was about balance. Memory seed. As the fight raged, the golden tree above began to react. Its branches bent toward the ground. Its leaves shimmered. Trelana saw the change. "It's feeding him memories." She ran to the roots and placed her hand on one. Inside her mind she saw images. Not of K. Of Subject 9. As a child, human, laughing, holding a tiny seed in his hand. Kai's final move, healing strike inside the chamber. Kai found an opening. He stopped attacking. He stepped forward and dropped his weapon. "Vine." Subject 9 paused. Confused. Kai held out his hand. "You were the first root. But you were never meant to fight alone." The chamber floor lit up. Vines from the golden tree above pushed through the ceiling. They wrapped around Subject 9 gently. Not to kill. To calm. To heal. For a moment, the creature stopped moving, then fell to its knees. The seed within Kai stepped closer, touched the creature's chest. There, under bark and cracked skin, a green crystal pulsed, a living seed. Still alive after all these years. He reached in. And pulled it out. Subject 9 gave one last breath. Then turned to dust. Not in pain. In peace. Planet-wide shockwave the moment the seed left Subject 9's body. A shockwave rippled across the entire planet. Every tree bent once. Every vine lit up for a second. Trelana looked at the sky. Zarnok satellites exploded in orbit. The network was down. The prisons went offline. And across the world, the Green Rebellion became unstoppable. Final scene. Planting the forgotten root back in the arena. Kai walked slowly. In his hand was the seed he recovered. Not just any seed. The first root. He reached the base of the golden tree, dug into the earth. And planted it. The ground accepted it instantly. A new tree began to grow beside the first. Smaller. But deeper. And the golden tree whispered, "Balance restored." But justice is not done. Kai looked toward the stars. He knew Zarnok was not finished. The next war would not be on this planet. It would be among the stars. Opening hook. The sky is not silent for weeks. The earth had changed. The golden tree stood taller, stronger, its light visible from space. Forests had returned to dead zones. Prisons were silent, and the Zarnok fleet? Broken, crashed, powerless. But high above, in the last functioning colony ship, General Zirak stood at a black window, watching Earth burn green. He turned to his officers. "We lost the ground. Now we control the sky." He pressed a red button. From deep space, something ancient began to move. Not a ship, not a weapon. A seed, but not like Kai's. This one was metal. Rebellion grows. Sky plans begin inside the arena. Now a living sanctuary. Kai sat at the base of the golden tree. Beside him, the second tree planted from Subject 9's seed had begun glowing. Trelana arrived, carrying a small device. "We intercepted a signal. She said. She showed Kai the message. A location. Station V7 orbit. High above Earth. Message. Final weapon moving. Kai stood slowly. They're not running. They're preparing to end us. He looked up. At the stars. Then we rise to meet them. The green ship, the golden tree, opened its roots once more. Deep inside Earth's crust, long-buried materials responded to Kai's call. Metal, crystal, old Earth tech. The trees and roots formed a ship. Alive. Breathing. It looked like a leaf, shaped with steel veins. Inside, it had no buttons. No fuel. It moved using memory. It would fly not with engines, but with belief. Kai named it Verdant 1, the first ship of the Earthborn fleet. A crew of the changed Trolna stepped aboard. So did Ijo, a former prison guard. Luma, a child, who could control moss. And several ex-prisoners, now bonded with vines, bark under their skin. Each one had been touched by the root network. Each one was ready. Kai took the final step. Aboard. The door closed. The tree ship rose. And for the first time in centuries, Earth sent something into the stars. First contact, Station V7. The Verdant 1 approached Station V7, a Zarnuk war facility orbiting Earth's moon. From a distance, it looked abandoned. But as they got closer, turrets unfolded, energy shields activated. And then a voice spoke through the ship's wall. Not through radio. Through roots. You carry the virus. You are not welcome. Trelana looked confused. That's not Zarnuk language. Kai nodded. It's the same code I heard. Underground. A second memory seed had awakened, but this one didn't want peace. Enter the Bio-Titan. The station doors opened. Something massive stepped out. 10 meters tall, glowing skin, metal legs. Its body was part Zarnuk machine, part tree, part human. Living Bio-Titan. Made from ancient Earth DNA. Twisted by the Zarnuk into a weapon. It pointed toward K's ship. And growled. Return. Or be recycled, Kai whispered. They've been using nature. Not to grow, but to consume. Space battle begins. The Bio-Titan launched toward them. Roots shot from its arms, metal tipped. Fire filled. Kai raised his hand. The ship responded. Living vines shot forward, catching the Bio-Titan mid-air. But the creature broke free, smashed into the ship's side. Inside, alarms rang, but not machine sounds, echoes from the trees, pain signals. The ship was alive. And it was bleeding. Kai's risk, mental link. Kai closed his eyes. He reached into the Verdant One's heart, the memory core. He opened a direct mind link to the Bio-Titan. Instantly, pain filled his thoughts. Screams, fire, children crying, Earth burning. A voice shouted, they fed me roots. But not peace, only war, only pain. Kai whispered inside the link, you were born to grow, not to kill. The Bio-Titan hesitated. Its next strike slowed. But then General Zyrax's voice cut through the link. You are a tool. Finish the infection. Backup arrives. Zarnuk supercruiser, a massive shadow, passed over the moon. The Zarnuk supercruiser had arrived, armed with plasma cannons. Inside it, Zyrax activated a final program, Operation Seedbreaker. Trelana's eyes widened. It's a virus, a system designed to burn root memory. Kai understood instantly. If activated, every tree on Earth would die. Rebellion would fall. Choice. Save the Titan or stop the virus. Kai had two paths. Link deeper and free the Bio-Titan from control. Or cut the connection and attack the cruiser before they deploy the virus. There was no time for both. He looked at the Titan's eyes, still human beneath the bark. He looked at the stars, where fire was coming fast. Kai made his choice. Final duel in orbit. Kai stayed connected. He dove deeper into the Titan's mind, found the original host. A human named Solon. Once a botanist. Captured, injected, forgotten. Kai reached out. Not with force, but with memory. He showed Solon the arena. Now full of trees. The humans free. The Zarnok ships burning. Solon whispered in his mind, I remember. The garden. And just like that, the Titan turned. It screamed and charged at the Zarnok cruiser. Self-sacrificeth, Bio-Titan. Landed on the supercruiser like a meteor. It tore through metal. Tore through walls. Found the virus core. And held it in its hands. Solon's voice echoed one last time. Roots may twist, but truth always grows. He crushed the virus. The supercruiser exploded in a silent flash of light. Kai watched from the ship. His hands shaking, but his heart steady. Solon was gone, but not forgotten. Returned to Earth. A sky of leaves as the verdant one returned to Earth. The golden tree shimmered brighter than ever. From it fell a single golden leaf. It drifted across the sky, and when it touched the ground, a new tree grew instantly. The message was clear. The sky is no longer theirs. Earth's children had returned, not as warriors, but as guardians. Opening hook. Peace is never simple. Earth was green again. The golden tree stood at the center of the arena, glowing brighter than the sun. Forests grew where ashes once lay. The rebellion had won, but not all seeds grow into flowers. Some turn into thorns. The survivors return from hidden bunkers, from frozen zones, from crashed colonies. Humans returned. Not all were like Kai. Some had never touched the roots. Some had watched from space. Some had waited, and now wanted power. They saw Earth not as a home, but as a throne. The stranger from Mars. One ship landed near the arena. Black, sharp, silent. From it walked a tall woman in a red suit. Her name was Dr. Erin Voss. She smiled as she walked through the trees. This is beautiful, she whispered. Then added, and very profitable. Kai met her at the base of the tree. You were part of the Martian colonists, he said. I was, she nodded. Until we lost contact. Now we're back. She looked up at the golden tree. We want to help you protect this world. But first, we need to study the root, the lie of science. Dr. Voss offered a new deal. A shared council between Earth and the Mars colonies. Exchange of knowledge and tech. Controlled research into the roots and memory seeds. Many in the rebellion supported it. We need allies. Trelina said. Kai felt uncertain. Nature gave us a gift, not for profit, not for power, for healing. But his voice was becoming lost in a sea of new leaders. New voices. New ambitions. The lab in the forest weeks past. Dr. Voss built a clean, white lab on the edge of the forest. She said it would help protect the golden tree. But Kai noticed vines around the lab, growing twisted. Some animals stopped going near it. One night, he snuck inside. What he found shocked him. Subject 9's DNA, Solon's Titan blueprint. A new memory seed. Dark-colored and sealed in crystal. He whispered, she's trying to make a weapon. And he was right. The split Relena. And others confronted Kai. You're being paranoid, she said. We need Voss's science. We can't defend Earth with vines alone. Kai looked around. Soldiers were now wearing bark armor grown by the lab. Drones flew using root-powered circuits. Children were being taught how to control moss for war. He stepped away from the camp. This is not what we fought for. This is not life. This is just another empire growing. And so, the rebellion broke. Two paths formed. Kai's group, natural, peaceful, pure growth. Voss's group, controlled, weaponized nature. And the root war began. First skirmish. It started small. A tree, grown wild by Kai's people, blocked a supply route. Voss's soldiers cut it down. Then another tree grew back. Faster. This time, it wrapped their equipment. They responded with fire root grenades. Within a week, half the forest had turned into a war zone. Roots twisted in anger, branches moved without wind. The trees were starting to feel fear. Voss's secret weapon, Project Bielome, deep in her lab. Voss finished her real plan, using Subject 9's DNA, mixed with Solan's memory, and pieces of Kai's discarded vines. She created Bloom, a hybrid life form. Not fully plant, not fully human. Controlled by her mind, it walked on 4 legs, had no mouth, but its chest opened to reveal thorns that spit acid. "This is peace through strength," she said. "This is evolution." Kai's awakening far from the chaos. Kai meditated in a circle of old trees. He let the golden tree speak to him. He touched the soil, listened to the earth's heartbeat, and he saw a vision. Bloom destroying the forest, Dr. Voss merging with the roots, earth turning into a plant machine prison. He opened his eyes. A single tear rolled down his cheek. The root must not serve rulers. The root must only serve life. He stood and the oldest tree stood with him. Final confrontation. Bloom unleashed near the golden tree. Voss arrived with Bloom. Her soldiers stood behind her. Kai waited. Alone, except he wasn't truly alone. The vines, the birds, the winds, they stood with him. "You can't stop this," Voss said. Kai shook his head. "You don't understand. You never controlled the roots. They allowed you. Until now." Bloom roared. Charged at Kai. The ground split. Vines moved not to block, but to hug the creature. Bloom stopped. Trembled. Then it looked at Kai. The choice of the created inside Bloom's chest was a small memory core, like Subject 09's. It flickered with old feelings, a child's laugh, Solan's final words. Kai reached forward. "You are not a weapon. You are a choice." For a moment, silence. Then Bloom turned, faced Voss, and gently lowered its head. She screamed, "Obey me." But the vines wrapped around her hands, took the controller from her. Then the forest spoke. "This world grows with you, or without you." Aftermath. Roots reclaimed Dr. Voss was not killed, but she was taken. Her lab broken down, its tech returned to the soil. Bloom became a guardian of the golden tree. And Kai? He planted a small seed where her lab once stood. From it grew not a weapon, but a simple flower. Bright red. He looked up at the sky. The war was over, but the real enemy was never Zarnok. It was the hunger to control life. Far beyond the moon. In the dark space between galaxies, a Zarnok satellite blinked for the first time in centuries. It found something, a signal, buried deep inside the Zarnok hive mind. A warning. Root event detected. Initiate protocol. Harvest absolute. Something ancient, something older than the Zarnok themselves, had now awakened. And it was coming. Earth and Bloom on Earth. Peace had returned. Forests had spread across once dead lands. The golden tree stood tall, now nearly touching the clouds. Kai stood beneath it. Bloom at his side. Children played among the roots. People sang again, but far above. Trelina watched the stars. Something was wrong. "There's a new object in space," she told Kai. "It's not Zarnok, it's older. The Ancient One arrives." The skies darkened. Night lasted longer. Then the object appeared. A massive black sphere, almost the size of the moon. It had no engines, no weapons, no windows. But it hummed. A low, slow, painful sound. The roots across the planet shivered. Even the golden tree bent slightly, as if bowing. Then came the voice. It spoke through every seed, every tree, every mind. "I am the first root, the origin of all memory. You have grown too wild. Now you must return to the seed." The first root. Kai sat under the golden tree, trying to understand the voice. Images filled his mind. A galaxy overrun with roots. Worlds consumed in green. Zarnok. Cities once peaceful, until the roots grew too powerful and began to overwrite reality. The Zarnok had not created the root system. They had tried to trap it. Control it, failing. They built prisons like the arena to test it on humans. Now, The true origin had come to collect what was once its own. The planet debates guy called a meeting of the surviving leaders. Some said, "We must fight it." Others said, "We should surrender, let it guide us." Bloom whispered to Kai, "It is not evil, but it is not kind. It is logic. It only wants balance." Trellina stood and said, "This is not balance. This is erasing free will." Kai closed his eyes, then spoke softly. "Then there is only one path. Into the void." The final mission. Kai, Bloom, and Trellina entered the Verdant One once more. Their goal was not war, but negotiation. As the ship flew toward the black sphere, trees below shed golden leaves. They flew upward, as if saying goodbye. Inside the sphere, there was no metal, only vines. Every wall was a living memory. Faces appeared in the roots: Zarnuk, human, others unknown. Each said the same thing: "You were not ready." The test of mind. Kai was pulled into a mental space. He floated among stars and voices. He saw the first root in full form, a planet-sized tree, its roots stretching between galaxies. It showed him Earth burning in the future, humans turning the roots into weapons again, Bloom becoming a god of control. Kai cried out, "No, we've learned, we can change." The first root replied, "Then prove it. Sacrifice what you love most." The last seed. In Kai's hand appeared a small white seed. The first root spoke, "This is the last seed. If you plant it, Earth will survive, but you will disappear. Your memory, your roots, all erased." Kai turned to Trellina. To Bloom. To Earth below. He smiled. "I was never meant to rule, only to grow." He took the seed and pushed it into the center of the first root's core. The collapse. A flash of light. Then silence. The black sphere cracked. Fell into dust. The voice faded, and the stars were bright again. The Verdant One returned, but Kai was not inside. Only a single golden leaf remained. Bloom held it close to its chest. Trellina whispered, "He chose growth over self." A new dawn. The golden tree shined brighter than ever. Its roots now stretched across Earth, but gently. They healed, protected, taught. No longer driven by fear or control. Children grew up learning to listen to nature. Bloom became the silent guardian. Trellina told Kai's story in every village, every year, and sometimes at dawn. The golden leaf would glow. As if he was still watching, still guiding, still growing. Final words: legacy. They proved strength through death, but nature delivered justice. And now, nature delivers hope, because the root was never a prison. It was a mirror. And we are what we choose to plant.